Please stand by. Your program is about to begin. If you require assistance during your conference today, please press star and 0. Good day, everyone, and we apologize for the delay today. Welcome to the 2020 annual meeting of the shareholders of To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Please note that this call may be recorded, and I will be standing by if you should need any assistance. It is now my pleasure to turn today's conference over to Tom DeLong. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I call the 2020 annual meeting of the stockholders of To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science Incorporated in order. I am Tom DeLong, interim CEO and chairman of the board of directors. Also present today are Jim Simovan, director and vice president of operations, Dr. Hal Pudoff, Director and Vice President of Science and Technology, Chris Miser, Director, Steve Justice, Chief Operations Officer, Cara DeLong, Chief Communications Officer, and Lisa Clifford, Corporate Secretary. Lisa Clifford will serve as Inspector of the election. At the conclusion of the formal part of this meeting, myself and other members of the executive team will give an update on the company and answer your questions. I appoint Jim Simovan to serve as moderator for this meeting.
Thank you, Tom. Each of you with us today were confirmed as registered stockholders of the company. The Secretary has delivered an affidavit of mailing establishing that notice of this meeting was duly given. A copy of the notice of meeting and the affidavit of meeting will be incorporated into the minutes of this meeting. All stockholders of record at the close of business on January 14, 2020 are entitled to vote. Our first order of business is to determine whether the shares represented at the meeting, either in person or by proxy, are sufficient to constitute a quorum for the purpose of transacting business. Lisa, do you have the report?
Yes. The stockholders list shows that holders of 11,491,261 shares of Class A common stock are entitled to vote at this meeting. Approximately 95% of the shares entitled to vote are represented in person or by proxy.
Thank you, Lisa. Because holders of the majority of the shares entitled to vote at this meeting are present in person or by proxy, I declare this meeting to be duly convened for purposes of transacting business. Now, the next order of business is a description of the matters to be voted on in today's meeting. The link to the materials describing the proposals before us was in the notice sent to you. You can also follow along on the proxy cards. The first and only proposal before the stockholders is the election of 4 directors to serve on the board of directors until the 2021 annual meeting of the stockholders and until their successors are duly elected and qualified. The management of the company recommends the selection of the following persons: Tom DeLong, Jim Simovan, Dr. Hal Pudoff, and Christopher Miser. We will now vote on the election of our 4 directors. Cast your vote, you will need to press the corresponding number on your touch-tone phone. Please wait for all choices to be read before answering. Now, please note that there will be a brief silence after the question has been asked so that the results can be compiled. For each proposal, press the number 1 to vote for, the number 2 to vote against, or number 3 to abstain. Remember that if you have already sent in your proxy cards, your shares have been voted accordingly. You do not need to vote today unless you are voting for the first time or you want to change your previous vote. First, the election of the directors. For nominee Tom DeLong, press 1 to vote for his election, 2 to vote against, or 3 to abstain.
All votes have been compiled.
For nominee Jim Simovan, press 1 to vote for his election, 2 to vote against, or 3 to abstain.
All votes have been compiled.
For nominee Dr. Hal Pudoff, press 1 to vote for his election, 2 to vote against, or 3 to abstain. election, 2 or 3 to abstain.
All votes have been compiled.
We now seem to have all of the responses, and since all of those desiring to vote have done so, I hereby declare the polls closed. The tally of phone votes and proxies will be held in the possession of the Inspector of the Election, Lisa Clifford. She will now count the votes. Lisa, will you please report the results of the voting?
The ballots have been counted. The nominees for the election to the Board of Directors have been duly elected.
Thank you, Lisa. Now back to Tom DeLong to conclude the formal portion of the meeting.
Looks like I might have been on mute. Apologize about that. Thanks, Jim. Thank you all for attending today's meeting. The meeting is adjourned. We will now have a presentation of the company's management, after which we will answer questions submitted by stockholders. 2019 was another milestone for TTSA. We continued to create and strengthen strategic relationships that will advance our mission and increase the value of the company's shares. Our focus has been to leverage the expertise and experience of our team to either improve or expand our intellectual property portfolio across media, science, and technology. I'm beside myself with the quality of our world-class team and everything we've accomplished in the 2 years we have been operating. At TTSA, the building blocks of adding value for our investors include creating, acquiring, and commercializing intellectual property. In 2019, we saw the sustained success of our research that was documented on the History Channel series, Unidentified. The TV show gave our efforts the high visibility most companies only dream of. We quickly gained traction within government, industry, the scientific community, and Hollywood simultaneously. The legitimacy of our research was also cemented with the acknowledgement of the U.S. Navy that unidentified aerial phenomena exists, and that they were developing official reporting guidelines that will obtain more reliable data for the future, a milestone we ourselves didn't see happening so rapidly. The Science and Technology Division expanded their IP portfolio by acquiring remarkable metamaterials for our Atom Research project and entering into an agreement with TrueClear Global for their proprietary optical technology. We launched our first official relationship with the U.S. Army's Combat Capabilities Development Command under a collaborative research and development agreement for CRADA. The CRADA will help us widen the scope of our R&D efforts and accelerate the potential value of our science and technology IP. IP that has the potential to provide applications and solutions not only to large U.S. government customers, but clientele in various other industries as well. I am excited for the big 3 additions to the TTSA team of directors and advisors. Chris Miser, that was appointed to our board of directors, brings essential experience in private equity, finance, and business development that has already proved invaluable in the continued development of TTSA's framework. Joe Sherman and Chris Herndon were both appointed to the advisory board. With 25 years of experience, Sherman will give guidance in cloud-native product engineering services and will focus on the company's strategy and execution of artificial intelligence for our hero program Scout and the Vault. Herndon is the former director of White House Information Technology and provides support for U.S. government and Department of Defense technology opportunities. In 2020, I see a massive opportunity for growth as the To the Stars Academy brand strengthens, our portfolio deepens, and our customer relationships solidify. We will continue to leverage our current partners and seek out additional strategic relationships and investment opportunities that help strengthen our position for earnings growth and commercial viability. I think that is the perfect transition to introduce Chris Miser, our newest board member, who can speak to the new business development side of things.
Thank you, Tom. I am honored and excited to join such a talented team. My contribution and focus for TTSA is to develop and implement good governance practices that translate to transparent management as it relates to our investors, the board of directors, officers, and employees. I will also be deeply involved in the company's efforts to secure the capital and other resources that are needed to fulfill our mission. Corporate governance is about how the board and the managers of a company establish and maintain the values of that company. The shareholders elect the board members, and the board hires the operational management team. Governance is the bridge between the shareholders and the day-to-day operations. These policies and procedures seek to ensure that the human, intellectual, and financial resources of the company are being deployed in ways that are consistent with our objectives. It is important to set up a process that communicates clear lines of authority so staff can understand which decisions they can and can't make on their own. Corporate governance structures combine policies, guidelines, and codes. These documents balance the needs of the business with the engagement of our stakeholders. Succinct policies and processes allow everyone involved with To the Stars to make their efforts and those activities they can contribute to TTSA's success. Having a good corporate structure can minimize problems and reduce confusion about responsibilities. Having established procedures and processes in place should also allow growth to occur as smoothly as possible. But one of the most important aspects of good governance is communicating proactively with our investors. We have recently added investor relations resources to the team. This will allow us to elevate our profile in the financial community and with the financial press.
Thank you, Chris. Let me introduce Steve Justice, our Chief Operations Officer and head of our Aerospace Division.
Thanks, Tom. And I'd like to personally thank our shareholders for their support and participating in today's meeting. If you've been following us on our social media web pages and our website, you've seen that we've made some really great progress over the year. We're on an incredible journey in search of breakthroughs that redefine our perspectives on science and engineering. As we announced earlier this year, we've entered a collaboration agreement with the U.S. Army. The scope of that agreement covers material science, advanced communications, vehicle camouflage, and beamed energy propulsion. This contract spans 5 years, giving the Army access to TTSA data to support Army research. But in return, TTSA gains access to scientific expertise that accelerates the quality and pace of our research. We're in the process of responding to a Small Business Innovation Research RFP, which stands for Request for Proposals. SBIRs, as we in the industry call them, is a government-funded research for technologies that have potential commercialization. As noted on the website, SBIR enables small businesses to explore their technological potential and provides the incentive to profit from its commercialization. The particular SBIR to which we're responding for research on metamaterials, samples of which TTSA has in its possession and which we have begun analysis. While the SBIR process is competitive, we are confident that our technology offering and proposed program is strong enough to capture one of those awards. Last year, we discussed stand-up of our ATOM research project to analyze and advance our understanding of collected exotic materials. Our materials collection effort has taken our team to many points in the U.S. and abroad. And while I can't discuss the details at this time, I'm confident that we'll have some interesting progress to report on as the year progresses. Keep an eye out on our website and social media for announcements. To complement ATOM, we've added VAULT, which stands for Virtual Analytics UAP Learning Tool. This system uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to analyze large amounts of information to allow us to find normally undetectable data signatures and patterns in the diverse and extremely voluminous data that we're collecting. As an interface to VAULT, we're standing up SCOUT, which stands for Signature Collection of UAPs Tracker. SCOUT is a public interface that facilitates real-time uploads, downloads, alerting, and analysis. It's a downloadable mobile application that allows real-time global collaboration. SCOUT will also be one site where the TTSA team will publish results of research and other information related to VAULT. It's in testing now, so keep an eye out for its release soon. We've made a lot of progress in 2019, and we really look forward to expanding our work in 2020. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Steve. Back over to me to give an update on the entertainment division, which plays a crucial role in the To the Stars Academy business model. Our entertainment properties not only have great monetization potential with our direct-to-consumer franchise model, but bring to our mission built-in global fan base. To the Stars, Inc., our wholly owned subsidiary, saw an increase of 23% in retail sales in 2019. Investment in new product design and expanding merchandise offerings helped facilitate the growth, in addition to the increased traffic the store received from the marketing of new music by my band Angels and Airways. In October, we released the second book in the Secret Machines nonfiction series, Gods, Man, and War, and I'm happy to report that we have had significant traction with this specific franchise after all of our high-profile work. I will eagerly share the developments with you when those deals can be made public. Secret Machines is a hero property for the company, and I'm dedicated to sticking with A-level talent to produce the highest level of original content for it. Strange Times is also still in development at TBS, with scripts submitted and a goal for a pilot to be in production by the summer. Poet Anderson is still being worked in Hollywood to turn into a big-budget animated feature with a major studio, and I'm hoping to have Monsters of California, a script I co-wrote, in production this year. Finally, we are all incredibly proud of the work we've accomplished on History's Unidentified Inside America's UFO Investigation. Allowing them to document our research efforts catapulted the visibility of To the Stars Academy and helped us to continue to achieve our awareness and education goals in 2019. With over 1 million people tuning into each episode, we were greenlit and are currently in production for a season 2. It is important to clarify that as a company, we don't directly receive profits from the broadcast of the show. However, we do receive footage licensing fees and have secured the U.S. merchandising rights to sell the brand on To the Stars retail channels. As a public benefit corporation, the ability to kickstart our mission through the syndication of mass media and utilize the resources and network of A&E's History Channel was crucial. It has brought us countless new opportunities and access that we don't believe we could have achieved without them. In 2020, we are focused on strengthening the To the Stars Entertainment brand and expanding our consumer base through exciting new product partnerships. We are currently working on collaborations with organizations that have strong brand recognition and market share across art, lifestyle, and other consumer product categories.
Well, Tom, thank you. And thank you, Chris and Steve, for providing those updates. And we'll now answer a few questions from the stockholders. Now, Tom, our first question is for you. The question is, there are a number of notable personnel changes within TTSA in both persons who no longer appear on the TTSA webpage, Dr. Gary Nolan, Dr. Colin Kelleher as examples, and behind the scenes, Dr. Eric Davis joining the private aerospace industry, as well as notable additions to TTSA such as Chris Miser, Chris Herndon, and Joe Sherman. Do these changes indicate a change in direction and focus, or perhaps are there other reasons for these changes on which you can comment? Related insight for stockholders would be very helpful in both supporting TTSA as well as reducing nervousness that can abound if not addressed.
Thank you, Jim. I'm not able to comment on the exact circumstances behind those specific departures. However, this is an important question because our leadership team is visible and will continue to evolve as our company grows. Departures of personnel from our advisory panel or board of directors can be driven by numerous business reasons as well as personal reasons that have nothing to do with the direction of the company. Additions to our leadership team are strategic and reflect the expanding scope of operations of our company. Note that I said expanding scope rather than change in direction. The addition of Chris Miser to the board of directors is indicative of increased business discipline. Joe Sherman and Chris Herndon bring critical and unique technical skills to our advisory board, each of them brings potential business partnerships. All of these elements are essential to our growth. You can expect to see further additions as we refine and begin to implement our growth plans.
Thanks, Tom. Now, the second question is for Chris Miser. How have the 3- and 5-year plans changed for the company, Chris?
Thanks for that question, Jim. I don't know that our 3- and 5-year plans have changed a lot. We remain committed to the vision of TTSA, to developing entertainment properties and scientific technologies that can inform, educate, and benefit humanity. I think what has changed is the pace at which we were able to pursue these plans. In the past year, we've added some remarkable people to the team. We've begun raising a significant amount of capital. We have formed new strategic relationships and have launched quite a few new initiatives. I think you will see things scaling up over the next 3 to 5 years, bigger, faster, and in more ways than we anticipated at this time last year.
Thank you, Chris. And our third question is for Steve Justice. Steve, given the U.S. government's prevarication in the past, Why now give pieces of UAPs to them, the U.S. military, for anything at all? How does this assist TTSA, the stockholders?
Sure, Jim. Listen, I respect the distrust perspective. However, we at TTSA believe that the calculus is different now. You've seen the U.S. Navy change its reporting policy and most recently acknowledge that the released videos are real and that they're unable to identify the objects captured by their sensors. As our teams work with people in Washington, D.C., we see the conversation changing in more areas. One of those conversations was with Army personnel at DEFCON. That group's job is to look into the future and find and develop revolutionary technologies. They're like-minded and enthusiastic, and they are really great people to work with. The recently announced CRADA is a chance to accelerate our research and accelerate the maturity of potential revenue-generating technologies.
Thank you very much, Steve. This concludes the questions. Thank you again to all the stockholders who submitted the questions. We regret we cannot answer them all given the time constraints, although I encourage you to review our SEC filings with the links on our website, which have answers to many of the questions asked.
Thanks, Jim, for moderating the meeting. I would really like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you for submitting questions, and those of you attending the meeting, as well as those of you who submitted proxies but were not able to be here today. We look forward to speaking to you again.
This does conclude today's program. Thank you for your participation, and you may now disconnect.